All right, everybody, I am back with a brand new DC update. And as you noticed from the thumbnail, yes, some of our worst fears about the Superman movie are about to come true. And this comes directly from Isabella Merced, who is in the film playing Hot Girl. And she labeled the movie 3 different words. And the very first word she used to describe Superman is funny. Funny. Now, we're going to look at the other 2 words she called this, but that was the first word she used to describe the film. And always the first word, or the first thing you always want to mention, is the big hook. And she used the word funny. But we're going to look at what else she said, but we have a few things to show you guys here today. And again, I'm on the push for 20,000 subs by the end of this year. If you watch my videos on a regular basis, and especially if you're new here, consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell so you will be notified as I have new videos go up. But let's take a look at these photos. So the first thing I have to show here, this made me laugh when I saw James Gunn post this. And this is when I expanded what it said, because it said there was more. And I fully expected for him to trail this back to some date with his family, because that's what he's done with the last few posts that were like this. But he says, today marks the anniversary of the Creature Commandos' first appearance in Weird War Tales number 93. They were created by J.M. DeMatteis and Pat Broderick, with cover art from Joe Kubert, who is a legend, and are the inspiration for the forthcoming DC Studios Creature Commandos show, out this December, which you just might love as much as us. Now, what I'll tell you about this is he says it takes inspiration from Creature Commandos, but it is not a literal translation, because I guarantee you this is not going to be silly or stupid like the show is going to be. I can guarantee you that. They're definitely going to take this in a different direction, but that's all James Gunn knows. It's all he knows. And I've been telling people this ever since he took over, and I don't mind that he took over DC to oversee stuff, but I don't want him directing everything, because I know how he writes and directs. And this will be no different. I already had a different video where I showed where one of the people involved admitted, yes, this is going to be just like his other stuff, and it's just the tone that he's going to be using. And that's a shame, especially with what I said about Superman. And we're going to take a look again what Isabella Merced said here after we look at a couple more photos. So again, this goes back to what I mentioned in my last video, that Warner Brothers Discovery has shut down CartoonNetwork.com. It does trail straight into Max.com. Again, Warner Brothers is good at shutting stuff down that people actually like. Now, Umberto Gonzalez actually made this comment, and I think this was spot on. So, Zaz will pay for them to attend the Olympics, but not the Comic-Con. Okay. It says, another day, another photo of the Superman cast, plus booster gold at the 2024 Paris Olympics. So they could make it to the Olympics. All of them could make it to the Olympics. Every single one of these individuals could make it to the Olympics. But they couldn't make it to the Comic-Con. Somebody explain that. Somebody explain how they have time to do this, but they can't take the time to hype the crowd up for Superman that comes out next year, which will premiere before the next Comic-Con. Again, terrible move on their part. This is Zoe Kravitz talking about the Batman Part 2. She says, I think Matt's writing it right now. So she will be back as Catwoman, I am sure. She would know. But again, until they have a release date for this, and it's been greenlit, but there's no script. And James Gunn said they won't let anything go into production or be greenlit until they have a script. But yet that one's been greenlit, but they don't have a script yet. Again, contradictory comments by the head CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery. Or not Warner Brothers Discovery, but DC Studios. All right, so this trails off of what I talked about in several past videos about Warner Brothers being on fire. And make no mistake, anybody can justify their stocks being at $6 and being okay with it. that's a pretty twisted logic, trying to make it all make sense. This was a great company. It used to be a great company. But this is coming from some analysts, and it says, according to Scott DeAnthony, a Dartmouth's Duck School of Business professor specializing in disruption challenges, companies falter when they focus on manipulating numbers rather than understanding customer and employee behavior, which is exactly what is happening with Warner Brothers. Once this shift occurs, the company's downfall begins. And they definitely they overvalued by $10 billion a portion of the company, which really hurt their stocks, which caused their stocks to take a downfall. And they definitely don't understand their customers. That is for sure. They are not catering to their customers. They're catering to their employees' behaviors. It goes on to say advertisers have long been unhappy with Warner Brothers Discovery sales tactics. During the recent upfront market season, Warner demanded media agencies commit to increased spending compared to 2023 levels. Given the shrinking cable TV market, this demand was seen as unrealistic. Two media buying executives familiar with the negotiations between Warner's approach as particularly they called it particularly unreasonable. Although Warner Brothers Discovery reported strong upfront commitments in sports and increases in streaming, it did not disclose the overall dollar figure tied to its portfolio. And when they did, again, it was overdone by $10 billion. One buyer noted that while occasional tough negotiations over small amounts are expected, Warner's persistent hardline tactics every year are problematic. And you'll remember this goes back, and I was thinking about this yesterday, when they talked about the whole Coyote versus Acme movie and how they were going to take the tax write-off. The public got wind of it. They said, no, we're going to sell it off to somebody else to distribute. And then they came back and said, well, nobody wanted to buy it. When you found out from some of these other outlets that they were asking way too much money for the rights to be able to distribute it. And again, Warner's persistent hardline tactics every year are problematic. This buyer believes Zaslav doesn't grasp the nuances of this kind of negotiation, echoing the sentiment that advertisers dislike being told their substantial spending is insufficient. Another executive remarked that dealing with Warner Brothers is difficult on multiple levels, expressing frustration with the company's approach. Guys, this is coming out all over the place. It's not just me talking about this. I'm reporting on what I find and what is being discussed. I already talked about in the last video how there are lawyers definitely looking for ways to go after and sue because of how low the stock has gotten. And this is getting crazy. Like there is, and I showed you guys in the last video, all of the headlines that are out there on, Google. I'm not making this stuff up. This isn't me just pulling this up out of thin air and reporting on it. These are things that are actually happening, and people have to come to grips with it, that Warner Brothers is in bad shape. All right, here it is. Isabella Merced describes a heartwarming and loyal take on Superman. This was her actual quote, though. She said, the whole movie is very loyal to comic books, but with a James Gunn twist. That's the key right there, okay? With a James Gunn twist. We've already seen how he twists every single property he gets his hands on into something that is nowhere near the comic book counterparts. She goes, so I really think it's funny. That's the first thing she uses to describe this, is funny. It's clever, but it's also heartwarming. All of those same words you could describe every single volume of Guardians of the Galaxy. And the Guardians of the Galaxy tone is not going to work for Superman. I do not ever want to see the word funny when it comes to Batman, Superman, or Wonder Woman. Clever and heartwarming for Superman? Yes, that works. Funny does not. There is nothing funny about Superman. There is nothing funny about Wonder Woman. There is nothing funny about Batman. But this is the first word she used to describe Superman. This has me very, very worried. I still hold a little shred of hope that this movie is going to be something fantastic. But it's quotes like this coming directly from the actors involved that make me very worried about the viability of this company to do anything to appease the fans or do anything good for Warner Brothers. Guys, I want to talk about something positive, but there's nothing positive about the news that is coming out. Some outlets are out there taking this to say, oh, this is going to be just like Superman's supposed to be. But I think they're failing to look into the comments with a James Gunn twist. Funny. Guys, this is all that James Gunn knows. It's all that he knows. I've been telling you guys this from the beginning since I found out he was directing Superman. I had an open mind before I found out he was directing Superman. But ever since I found out he was directing, writing it, and also doing Creature Commandos and working on Peacemaker Season 2, everything that's currently in production is all James Gunn. We know what James Gunn has to offer, and it's not what's right for DC. All right, guys, what do you think about all of this news? Again, if you haven't already, please subscribe, hit that notification bell, like this video. Let YouTube know that you actually like the video. Please help my channel out. I do appreciate it. We will see you guys on the next video.